Hello and welcome to another inspiring edition of Leading Ladies TV. We are delighted to welcome you here today. I'm even more delighted to welcome a very, very, very special guest, Dr Anita Sanchez. So hi there, Dr Anita, thank you very much for being on the show today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so looking forward to you sharing your story. Just to give a little bit of background to the viewers, Anita was born to a very large family, 120 first cousins, which is just phenomenal. And you're really proud of your native Mexican American background and heritage. You began your life with many gifts, but have kept a secret really for many years, which was coming through incest from the age of 4 to 13. You hid that from people, and you're here to share the sort of triumphant story of surviving those 9 years, which only ended when your father died, was murdered in fact. But in spite of those violent upbringing, you're a thriving sister, a mother, a businesswoman, committed to positive change, and you're happily living your dreams. And I'm fortunate enough to meet you in person, Anita, and just know how warm and caring and giving you are. And actually, I haven't heard this story, so I will just say thank you, and please, share with us.
Yes. Well, it's good to see you again, too. Yes, my story, I am living my dream, as you said. It's just, it was why it's important for me to share this story, because even though things can be so horrific, which it was from age 4 to 13, to have almost like two lives. There was the life that I just loved, my big family, my grandparents, all the wonderful things and traditions and ceremonies. And then there was that dark secret at home, and living in fear. And I lost hope, actually. It was pretty horrific. And when my father died, when he was actually murdered, it was a racial incident where he was mistaken for a black man, actually, where a black man and a white man had an argument, and he went there for a beer and sat at the same place. And I was 13 at the time, and the white man returned and just saw the profile of my father and shot 2 bullets through his head and killed him. Now, it's horrible. No one should die that way. And I'm really sad for my father because he never got to reconcile his life and the violence and hurt that he created. But I, being a young girl, thought that I was free, finally, at last, that my two worlds could come together, that I didn't have this secret anymore and this shame and stuff. And I was wrong. Your mind is so powerful. I just kept seeing images. And so I actually hit bottom. I thought I'd already hit bottom, and I hadn't. I actually tried to kill myself when I was 13, a few months after my father died, because I believed, no way, this is my life. So fortunately, it didn't work. Taking lots of pills. To this day, I don't take pills. And though something really critical happened, when I was convulsing, when my body decided not just to go to sleep and die, but to fight back, the things that came forward to me were, to this day, huge reminders of the importance of life. And so there were 2 images. One was a rocking chair that my grandfather built for me when I was a toddler. And he only made 3 of those in his life, and I got one of them. And I remember seeing that and feeling all this love and going, no, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. The other image was one that as a little girl, I remember as early as age 3, having this dream. And to this day, I still have this recurring dream where there's the earth and all these stick people, and they're not holding each other's hands. They have their hand on each other's hearts. And as a little girl, at 3, 4, 5, I just kept dreaming this. And in kindergarten, I remember the teacher saying, what are you going to be when you grow up? And all the kids get crayons and we drew, and people stood up and say, mommies, daddies, firemen, all those amazing things. And I stood up. I was the last of 24 and I had my picture. Actually, I have it right here because I always keep it on my desk. Okay, there's my picture. And I said, there are a lot of us. We're all over the world, and I'm one of these. And the kids all laughed, and the teacher said, put away your crayons. And something happened. I wasn't embarrassed. I all of a sudden felt like my feet went right down to the center of the earth, and I felt taller than the sky. I just knew that's what I was supposed to be. I didn't have language for it, but I knew that something about connecting people all over the world was what I was called to do. And so in that depth of hopelessness arose that image as well as that rocking chair. And I am forever grateful. Like, I don't ever go to that point again. And I realized getting through all of that is part of my message in the world. Like, no matter what, whether it was from a child or as an adult, whatever your circumstances, as horrific as they might seem, there is choice. Because now, and I'll stop with this in my story, I realized that at one point I thought my well of pain was much bigger than my well of joy. And that was an illusion. Because as then I began my healing process, I began to see even the depths of horror of the violence that happened to me were these amazing people who came forward, these beautiful connections to nature, these wonderful dreams, all of these, the abundance of life was still there, but it was being clouded over the illusion that this was all there was this pain and hurt and mistreatment. And that's a lie. That's absolutely a lie, because you can live your dream too.
I don't even know where to start with the questions, Anita. It's a phenomenal story. The thing that struck me, the globe with the stick people on it. So you had that at the age of 3 or 4, and then did it keep recurring, or it just came back in that moment when you were, at dire straits?
Yes, actually, I just kept having that dream. I just kept having it and having it and having it. And that dream really helped me, because I realized there's this illusion also that we're alone. Like, I'm an only, and in the United States, there's this big individualism kind of mentality. And there is about being an individual, but are also part of an interconnected whole, and when I kept dreaming that, what I realized, it was kept helping me see that I wasn't alone. And so that beautiful picture of everyone's hands on each other's heart, eventually, I remember particularly like in my late teens, having that recurring dream again, and just realizing, oh my gosh, even in the horror of my little body hurting and seeing myself there, I saw the sunshine coming through the window and hitting right on my body. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have oxygen, I have sunshine, I have all these other great things. So that picture, and it continues, and I'm much older than that now, unapologetically so. I'm just so happy to be continuing to give my gifts to the world and to receive from others.
Yeah. And when did you manage to understand what that image was?
Yes, well, it was actually at age 23, I totally locked in. Because at age 23, I was the youngest. I used to head for 9 years as executive director of a YWCA, a county one. And very quickly, I got elected within months, to the World YWCA. And there are 9 people in the U.S. that were a part of that. So lots of wonderful women. I mean, just amazing. And I was like, I had hardly gotten out of the, poor economic conditions in Kansas City, went off to college at age 16. And then all of a sudden I find myself in this job and then elected to the worldwide. And all of a sudden I'm training in Singapore, and I meet Mary French Rockefeller, Mary Dayton. I mean, all these amazing women who've never been out of the bush before. I mean, just a whole, and all of a sudden when I was dreaming in Singapore, it was like, oh my gosh, there was just, the whole thing became electric. It was like, see, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And that's when it really locked in. And then I've never forgotten, because all my work with leaders in global corporations and nonprofits all over the world just continue to bring that alive, that we are interconnected, and that we are meant to really dance and be joyful, create, problem solve as well. But it's just, all of that is there for us.
I absolutely love this, because that's kind of almost, fits in with, or it resonates for me with Leading Ladies TV, because what I'm hoping to do is get these messages out to people all over the globe, and then connecting. So maybe now that you've come on the show, Anita, we'll connect more, because we've got all of those hands all over the place. It's phenomenal.
Well, I think you're right. I think we hold their attention. And that's why I had no doubt in my mind when I saw the message about, I was like, oh, I want to do that. Whether we help one woman or we help hundreds of thousands of women and men and the children or whatever, that is what we're meant to do. And so this is one of your gifts.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to be here to support that.
I'm really excited. And just going back, obviously, at the age of 13, it was a terrible time. How did you manage, I guess, to change your story from victim to victor, I suppose?
Right. Well, again, it was being able to reconcile by bringing together what I thought were two different people into one, because I'm not two different people.
Yeah.
And it was about inside realizing that there were powerful gifts that I have. But then also realizing all the people that were there, the teachers, the art museums. I spent a lot of time as a child going off to art museums by myself, and I realized it was important to be able to see the beauty that people created, to be able to know that somehow I'm connected to this. So ultimately, it began happening, snowballing pretty quickly. But then, we still have seasons of our life where we start losing hope again. And in the 90s, that happened to me again. Not that I was that hopeless, not like I was as a teen, but sort of like, well, part of my work is doing leadership development, a lot of diversity and inclusion, bringing people from all over the world to appreciate each other and to work together. And I started thinking, gosh, it's not working. I don't feel like I'm getting enough women promoted up into, director, president, vice president, all those positions, those kinds of things. And, but some gifts I received from elders, indigenous elders. And I'll tell you, one of those gifts answers your question, which is that you're asking, I think is at a very deep level, is that one of all of our gifts as human beings is we have the power to forgive the unforgivable. Now, psychologists argue, and you can read about them saying, oh, it's not possible. Others saying it is. Well, I'm here to tell you, you can forgive the unforgivable. And that it is so glorious to do that, because it's not only about bringing back my full humanity, but you see, if I kept that forgiveness away from my father or my mom, who was a passive participant, then I would be taking away their humanity. And then I'm left in the same place, actually becoming the perpetrator. So it feels so an understanding of liberation, of truly what that means from the inside out. And that's what I believe we all have the gifts to free ourselves. And that can be the most difficult and most glorious journey is when we're able to do that.
I can absolutely imagine the release and the clearing out that provides for you. Yeah, well done. You're a phenomenal lady, you really are. And what's your overall message then? What message would you like to give to the viewers today from your journey? And
yes, no matter what your circumstance, you get to choose. And I know this for sure. You're here for a reason. And your gifts are needed. The world, life is calling you, me, all of us to bring forward our gifts. So no matter what your story is, you get to create it. You get to choose and make it one that's full of love, abundance, giving, caring. It's a great life.
I feel phenomenal after receiving that message. Thank you so much. I do hope it lands with the viewers the same as it just landed with me, because I felt like you were giving it directly to me. Thank you. Anita, we are going to draw this to a close, sadly, because there's so many aspects of this we could chat through even further. And I know that you're actually writing a book called The Four Gifts. The Four Gifts, yeah. And that's going to be out towards the end of the year.
Yes, The Four Gifts, Native Wisdom for Leaders. It'll be out the end of the year. And if I could say, I know you'll publish that in your site, but please come and like my Facebook author page, and they can learn when that comes out. And there's some videos there for people too.
Well, I'll be on there straight away.
Great,
because
thanks.
If it's your face, I'm going to see on that video with those messages. I will be. I'll be going there for a daily top up. It's fantastic.
Good.
So, thank you so much. It's a difficult story to share, I'm sure. Difficult to hear, but the way you've taken me through and sort of shown me where you are now, I'm extremely proud of you and grateful to you for sharing with us. So thank you so much, Anita.
And thank you.
Okay.